An ambitious young boy with aspirations of crossing the fence of the inconsistent economy and breaking from an unprecedented monotonous lifestyle in pursuit of his passion for ballet, and an anonymous insomniac who motivates himself to rebel against the consumerist world through his contrasting, paradoxical personalities. Billy Elliot, a 2000s drama musical directed by Stephan Daldry, and Fight Club, a 1999 American thriller film directed by David Fincher, follow through both these distinguishing characters, Billy Elliot and the narrator, respectively, who undergo unique and peculiar human experiences. Hello, I'm Janice Nzemana from Text and Human Insights, and within Billy Elliot and Fight Club, responders dismantle the betrayal of repression in the unconscious mind through the social interactions and dynamics presented in Billy and the narrator, inviting audiences to view the world in a nuanced perspective through the exploration of the manifestation of psychological conflict and subsequently the creation of alternative identities, allowing viewers to challenge their assumptions and consequently ignite new ideas on how true freedom might involve the ability to resist internalized oppression rather than just external restrictions. The interrelationship between both texts dissect the human experiences and furthermore allow audiences to acknowledge the multifaceted concepts of emotions and its overall progression. In Daldry and Finchers' films, the comprehensive exploration of the manifestation of psychological conflict emits through both the protagonist's struggles to confine within the barriers of their contextual social interactions and dynamics, as classified by Emile Durkheim's theory of social determinism that suggests people's habits and behaviors are shaped by social interactions and constructs. Set through the 1984 miners' strike, the dispute between trade unions and Margaret Thatcher's governing system in an attempt to boost the economy led to many lost jobs due to the mines being shut down. As a result, the strike served as a metamorphic interval that left Billy's family stranded in a low socioeconomic status. In this focal scene, Billy and his brother Tony share a compact bedroom where the faint diegetic music of Cosmic Dancer by T-Rex is played while Billy turns off the lights. Serving as an auditory representation, Daldry's use of the lyric "I was dancing when I was 12" summons a dissociate and stark contrast between Billy's early subconscious desire of breaking free via dancing, in addition to his environment of the light-out, compact room that constricts and limits his individuality and self-expression. Through the insightful narration of Billy's internal conflict, this mise-en-scene invites viewers to adopt different perspectives of the world and people within. It ignites new ideas about how individual aspirations can flourish despite oppressive societal forces, encouraging audiences to question the inevitability of conformity. Moreover, it challenges the audience's belief that individual identity and internal desires can be comfortably pursued in absence of mental and emotional strain from exterior pressures, like the constraints of overcoming collective identity and thus celebrating individual identity, such as demonstrated with the narrator from Fight Club. The surge of worship for the 1990s materialistic lifestyle in the film pedestaled a distinct worldview to audiences of a dystopian culture entranced in omnomania, where the narrator suffers from an alienation of prosperity. Navigating his world with just the motivation of discovering his innate role against the society by challenging the assumption of warranted submission to blinding corruption, the narrator's transverse trajectories between assimilation and propelling into a mental spiral compels him to a world of overconsumption to compensate for his mental void, as well as emotionally leeching and affiliating himself to the neglected, low-situated victims in society in efforts of battling his feelings of worthlessness to find meaning of his life. In the beginning of the thriller, audiences are easily guided to assume that the narrator follows a socially deterministic lifestyle from the facade of his comfortability in his job, lifestyle, and mental state. However, in this pivotal scene, the eye match between him and the pinned-up schedule of support groups demonstrates his desperation to uphold a role in society, even if it's morally inconsiderate.
I became addicted.
The frame of the narrator's face captures the perpetual descending of self-awareness, where he emits,
I became addicted.
The 4/4 breakthrough his narration provokes the audience to reframe their understanding of modern consumerism and notion of purchased happiness. Through this, Fincher challenges his audience to reflect on the subjective idea of personal satisfaction and validation of collective over individual identities. Similarly, Billy's glow of ambition through the window amidst the darkness mirrors the narrator's desperate grasp for meaning through his addiction to support groups. Both the characters cling to symbolic anchors, Billy to his dreams of dancing and the narrator to his fabricated sense of collective identity, to confront their psychological conflicts and seek liberation from oppressive societal norms. Hence, Daldry and Fincher both illustrate how the dangers of rejecting orthodox principles set in the world confronts audiences to reconsider the diversity of the human experience and embracing the thought-provoking idea of the demonization of socially defined individual fulfillment and its inevitable oppression pathway to the manifestation of psychological conflict. From the manifestation of psychological conflict, the derivation of the creation of alternative identities serves audiences the dual perspectives of the same world, as well as the effect of societal assumptions on social compliance versus individual agency on each of Daldry and Fincher's characters. It ignites new ideas on how individual liberties can sometimes conflict with societal values and standards, requiring a balance that redefines both concepts. Daldry paints a world to his viewers where men were repressed by the titles of resilience of all pressure, regardless of its scale and toxic masculinity, utilizing violence as a means of self-expression. His protagonist, Billy, is obliged to follow the systematic approach of a masculine sport, boxing, where he falls victim to the social determinism. However, he challenges audience assumptions on Billy's inescapable future by distorting this new perspective with an inconsistent, alternating portrayal of him juggling the transformative power of determination to overcome the fixated, collective identity of what it means to be a man, or a boy in this case. While the boxing and ballet class simultaneously take place in the gym, Mrs. Wilkins, the ballet teacher, notices exuding potential from Billy and invites him on, marking the beginning of Billy's journey in breaking free from the false identity imposed on him by traditional rules of respectable, recognizable masculinity, offering audiences an insight to the erosion of his external identity. However, Daldry swindles this new perception of a hopeful transformation through the emphasis of the harshness of Billy's life at home, while he walks out the house a ballerina and comes home a boxer. Sitting across from Mrs. Wilkins on the boxing ring, the ropes play a symbolic role of a wall of separation between his two contrasting identities. Moreover, Daldry's effective technique of placing Billy in the shadows and his ballet teacher in the blossoming light employs a visualization that confronts the audience's assumptions on the authenticity of external identities and brings them to understand the clash of collective and individual identities. Through this, Daldry illuminates new ideas of how one group's freedom can be another group's oppression, as seen with identical ambitions from Wilkinson's freely expressed to Billy's smothered passion for ballet, and the narrator to Tyler Durden. Fincher concocts a gradual and archetypal moment with the protagonist who is conflicted with who audiences assume is the greater money-greedy society. However, as the film progresses, Fincher covertly unveils the battle is between his alter ego, Tyler Durden. An enigma to the narrator himself, audiences are introduced to his self-destructive, punk-driven, death-inviting, and self-defined masculine outlook of the world. Instead of working a fun 9-to-5 and coming home to his IKEA apartment, Fincher portrays him as an underground soap-making entrepreneur who squats at abandoned buildings that challenges the monotonous lifestyle society is manipulated to. Within this scene, the pair walk out the bar and Tyler declares,
"I want you to hit me as hard as you can."
In similar fashion to Billy's overpowering individual identity over his exterior, the narrator subconsciously fabricates Tyler Durden, who inhibits and portrays his rather influenced motives and values. Fincher's narration through the narrator gradually reveals his fractured psyche that challenges audiences to distinguish between reality and hallucinations. This narration technique compels his audiences to confront the complexities of human experiences and the dangers of straying from individual identity. While Fincher uses violence to reclaim control over not only enforced oppressive environments, but internal conflict that invites ideas about rebellion as an antidote for individual success, Daldry creates a dual journey process for Billy that challenges ideologies on the concept of exterior masculinity and welcomes audiences to a redefinition of contemporary self-expression through his pursuit of ballet. Both films deconstruct the complexities of the human mind and bring to the forefront the layers of individuality and its alternating identities that ultimately leaves audiences to reflect on how far they should go to break free from the chains of social conformity. That brings us to the end of today's feature of Text and Human Insights. We've explored how Stephan Daldry and David Fincher explore repression and the unconscious mind through the manifestation of psychological conflict and its eventual path to the creation of alternating identities. Thanks for watching.